So I think we're good to go. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Marwa. I'm part of Mannai Datacenter unit, and I have the pleasure of introducing you to our webinar today. Mannai, before I get to the webinar, I would like to tell you a little bit about the team I'm a part of at Mannai. And our team basically looks after Mannai's Cloud Datacenter, which is a state-of-the-art Tier 3 local data center hosted within Qatar. That is focused on bringing to customers a set of services that span different types of offerings out there, from software as a service, infrastructure, hosting, security, IoT, to name a few, that basically enable our customers to navigate and efficiently leverage today's diverse and dynamic IT landscape. One that's characterized by not only a mix of different cloud deployment models from public, private, hybrid clouds, not only a unique mixture per organization of the different service models from the different X as a service, what have you, but even where clients' IT, customers' IT real estate or state spans basically different data centers that they don't necessarily own and operate themselves via consuming different software services from different providers and different organizations that they need at the end of the day to be able to effectively leverage, control, and manage. And basically that brings me to one of the solutions that we're prioritizing, offering in our data center as part of our services today, and that's Snow, which we hope will help a lot of our customers address some of the challenges, the unique challenges that come along with our today's cloud world. And for that, I would like to introduce Jamie, who heads up Snow across Middle East and Africa region. So Jamie, over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Jamie Allen. I'm the Regional Sales Manager here at Snow for the Middle East and Africa region. I've been working with Snow probably for about 14 to 15 years now. So I've been working directly with Snow for 7. And I was actually a partner of Snow's before, where I was offering Snow solutions to my customers out of the UK. So I'm just going to take you through a few slides today, and then we'll go into a sort of high-level demo. So, as Marwa said, we've got a new partnership with Mannai Datacenter that we're extremely proud and excited about. We see this as a huge opportunity in Qatar, and the fact that with the Mannai Datacenter, it's going to be hosted locally. So it's going to be the only local SAM solution available in the cloud, which is, like I said, very exciting, especially the feedback that we're getting from customers at the moment in terms of ensuring that cloud-first strategies are very key in a lot of customers that we're speaking to. So I just wanted to go through a few industry trends that we're seeing at the moment, and you're probably aware of a lot of these yourselves anyway. So, we've definitely seen a large increase in vendor audits recently. I'd say that Oracle, IBM, and Microsoft are the most active. There's a recent case actually in South Africa with an energy company. I think their Oracle audit bill initially was $370 million. So they're very active in the market. I've been speaking to a number of customers just this week that have approached us as they're in the middle of an audit or out off the back end of an audit. So we're definitely seeing that activity, and you've probably been reading all over LinkedIn at the moment all the license changes with Java, which is having a huge financial impact on a lot of our customers. I was speaking to an organization the other day, 46,000 employees. Based on the new Java licensing model, their annual bill would be $2.9 million. So a huge increase from what they're paying today. As we said earlier, SaaS is on the rise. The majority of vendors are only offering SaaS contracts now. So, majority of customers that I've spoken to in the Middle East, I think legacy, lots of people were signing into perpetual, on-premise contracts, where now the vendors are only offering, SaaS and subscription contracts. So again, seeing a lot of cost increase on their existing spend. I mentioned about some of the Oracle challenges that we're seeing with customers at the moment. We had two recent projects in Africa where we obviously implemented the solution and offered some services to support around Oracle. And in one of the customers, we actually found $60 million worth of risk and $8 million worth of risk on SQL licensing. So, if there's no proactive management, some of the risk on some of these applications is obviously very, very large. A recent success story that we had, which I'll come on to later, is a company called Investec Bank. They actually purchased our solution and were using a previous SAM solution, and they were able to get a full 3-year ROI in 7 months from install. And that was mainly around SaaS applications that they were able to reharvest. As I mentioned, the pricing of software is increasing as well. The feedback that I'm getting from friends in industry at some of these tier one vendors is the projects that were promised and were sort of forecasted to the businesses suddenly aren't happening anymore. The upgrades, etc. So that's where it's obviously leading to audit activity, but also the cost of maintaining what you've got. A lot of these vendors are increasing their prices drastically. I think I've seen some Microsoft SKUs. I think it was 24% on some of the SKUs. I think Oracle's around 8%. So yeah, there's been some significant price increases on some of these applications. And like I said, the majority of customers that we're speaking to at the moment feel that they're actually overpaying on software. So in terms of looking at some of those subscription type contracts, it's all about optimization at the moment in terms of only ensuring you're paying for what you're actually using. And as we said, the benefits of obviously working with Snow and Mannai with the server provider edition of Snow is it's all going to be hosted locally. It's going to be the only local cloud-based SAM solution. All upgrades and technical aspects of the platform is going to be managed by Mannai, and there's going to be a number of subscription managed services that are going to be applied to that as well. Keep an eye out on LinkedIn. There's a press release that's about to come out from our VP of Global Partner Ecosystem, Vin Chumba, announcing the partnership with Mannai. So that should be posted in the next couple of days. So, the great thing about Snow is, we've been very active in Middle East and Africa for a number of years now. We've got multiple customers that have actually been with us for 5+ years now. Again, the great thing about Snow is it's not vertical specific. So we've got, as you can see from a number of these logos, we've got customers, in retail, in finance, in telecoms, in chemicals, etc. So multiple customers, and we're significantly growing at the moment as well. So we're literally signing up a couple of customers, a month at the moment. And as I said, we're seeing a huge demand in the market from customers that are looking to achieve cost savings and obviously avoid any unwanted penalties with the likes of Microsoft and Oracle. Again, as I said, Snow isn't a vertical specific. We've got over 4,000 customers working with Snow globally. And here are some of obviously our global brands that we're working with, Jaguar Land Rovers in the manufacturing area there, a lot of government organizations as well. And we're seeing a lot of technology and banking and finance customers approaching us at the moment. As you probably aware, Snow are the market leader in Gartner. We've been recognized for multiple years in the Magic Quadrant, and have always held a leader position in both the quadrants for software asset management and cloud management platforms. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about the platform, and then we'll go into a bit of a demo. So, our vision is being able to be the single platform for what we call technology intelligence. And that's having visibility across all your cloud infrastructure, your SaaS applications, or your on-premise software, and all your hardware requirements. And with that, we're able to obviously optimize based on cost and efficiency. We can reduce, risk and increase compliance in terms of what we're seeing in the market. And, we're constantly, improving our products and services. And in terms of the challenges that we solve, I I would say that the majority of customers that we're speaking to, especially in the Middle East, are looking for that technology visibility piece to start off with. And that's getting a full view of all assets in the environment. So that's where we do a discovery and inventory of looking at all the applications that are in the environment, all the devices, whether it's a laptop, a desktop, a virtual server, a server, and just get an idea of what that landscape is. And typically, once customers have got that landscape in terms of, right, we've got 5,000 devices on end users, we've got 2,000 servers, we know we've got all these applications that we need to manage. We then start looking at obviously optimization. And typically, when we talk about optimization, it's all about software metering and usage. So it's getting an understanding of what applications are actually being used, what applications are not being used, understanding what that renewal cycle looks like. And obviously, before that renewal is approaching, we're making decisions based on data to say, actually, we're not using this software. We've got 30% of the users that have never logged in. Why are we going to continue paying for that subscription? Let's reduce that subscription count by 30% and move forward with the actual numbers based on the usage sets that we've got. So we're seeing a lot of people trying to get control of, like I said, software usage. And with SaaS management, obviously the element of risk isn't quite there because obviously you're paying for that subscription, which you'll obviously get a login to. But again, typically we're seeing a lot of these SaaS applications aren't being used. I think the stat from Gartner is it's anything from 25 to 35% is typically of unused software via SaaS applications. So the case study that I'll come on to later with Investec, they saved nearly over $1 million just on SaaS, just by being able to gain control and understanding of what applications are actually in use. So you can really refine that contract renewal. And the great thing about SaaS contracts is they're also typically 12-month contracts. So you can actually make an impact within that 12-month period. And the hot topic at the moment, as I'm sure that you're all experiencing yourself, is cloud cost. I'm having multiple conversations with people at the moment, explaining that the beginning of the year we were paying $100,000 on our Azure spend. We're now at $400,000. At the end of the year. So we're seeing lots and lots of increase in cloud. And again, the biggest challenge that we're seeing is management of that. The costs are spiraling. The businesses aren't actually understanding where or how they're spiraling. So we've got offerings around cloud cost management as well. We then go to risk management. The great thing about Snow is where we're getting all that asset discovery and inventory, and typically by our Snow agent. We've also got a product which is called Risk Monitor, where we're able to actually pull all that data through, run it through what's called the Risk Monitor platform, which effectively compares against the NIST database, all the data, and shows you all your vulnerabilities in your estate. So we're seeing lots of obviously demand around that at the moment with all the potential hacks and vulnerabilities. And then we got hybrid cloud management, which is looking at actually orchestration and automation of some of those cloud services with such as Azure, AWS, and Google, where you can actually offer a full cloud service brokering. A case study based on a bank, like I said, in South Africa. They came to us in early 2021, where they were seeking a new SAM platform. They had a number of challenges around SaaS visibility. There was a lot of unknowns that they just didn't have any control over. So they came to Snow. We went through a POC process with them where they evaluated the market and very quickly identified that Snow had the strongest SaaS offering in terms of discovering all the unknown SaaS applications, which was a typical problem that they had. And very quickly we were able to get deployed within 2 months in their estate of about 15,000 devices. As I said, the initial focus was mainly on SaaS applications, and we were able to offer a $600,000 saving in literally a matter of months. And within 9 months, we actually had a full 3-year ROI achieved on Snow. Some of those reharvesting were achieved from Adobe Acrobat and Creative Cloud licenses. So they actually reduced their overall contract by 15%. And they were able to identify a lot of their Microsoft Office 365 SKUs that, again, were not being used, and achieved a 12% saving on their Microsoft Office 365 spend. And there's a whole video published on the website as well, which you can go to, which has actually got Chris Sines, who's head of group software licensing at Investec, where he explains the process that they went through and the benefits, obviously, that they've achieved from the platform. And now we'll go into a demo. So in terms of the Snow platform, as we've mentioned, it's going to be hosted in Qatar by Mannai. And typically, the best way of gathering information is by deploying Snow agents across your estate. So we've got 4 types of agent. We've got a Windows agent, a Mac, a Linux, a Unix agent. And we would deploy them across all your end user devices and your servers and VMs. Once they're deployed, when they're going to start obviously pulling back all that software application information. And typically it does a daily scan, but they can actually be scheduled to be weekly, monthly, however regular you would like. Typically customers will have a daily scan. And then once the scan happens, we'll obviously start seeing all the information pull through. And this is a sort of snowboard page. And here you can see a typical rollout of an agent. What's my new inventory devices? What have we got? Total sort of reported in monthly. I've then got an alerts list here where I can see, what agreements have I got that expired. We track all the end of life, end of extended support dates, etc. And then we can see applications which we call deny listed, which is typically file sharing, games, anything that you don't really want in the environment. You can then have, again, computer inventory status showing I've got my devices reported in. I've got some that's been a week, some are a little older than a week, a month, and some older than a month. So this is where we want to actually explore that data and understand why are these devices not reporting in. Have they left the business? Have they lost the device? Is it not on the network, etc.? So we can start identifying some of those. All these dashboards can be configured. So I've got an asset visibility here one. Again, I can see my inventory status. I can see my breakdown of desktops, laptops, servers, etc. How many applications that I recognize, how many cloud applications, most installed operating systems, etc. But where you'll spend most of your time is in this search for applications tab. And if we go in here, and this is effectively a library of all that data and all that recognition that we've done on all those applications. So here straight away I can see I've got 15,565 applications. And this is typically the challenge that a lot of customers face. Where do I even start with 15,000 applications? Very quickly, we can just go, right, I only care about stuff that requires a software license because I know that there's obviously going to be a cost and a renewal date associated. So just by clicking yes, we do all that research where we research all the applications, and I've dropped that now down to 5,875. So I can go, show me my most installed applications. And typically we're going to see agent-based technologies. So I've got my Symantec endpoint, I've got my Snow agent there, etc. And then we start going into a lot of your Office suite products. And very quickly, you can just do a search. I want to look at my Microsoft software. It will show me all my Microsoft software. And actually, I only want to look at Visio. We've just had a request come in from a business unit asking for 50 Visio licenses. Let's see what we've got. Here I'll see all the different versions and editions of Visio that we've got, dating all the way back to 2002. So, straight away, all those old ones need, retiring effectively and brought up to a latest version. I'm pretty sure that a lot of those products are going to be end of life, end of support. But actually, I can see I've got a 2016 professional license. I've got 1,008 installations, but I've only got 61 users. There looks like there's something strange there. Let me click into that. So I can click into the application. Now it takes me into that application. I can see that I've got 850 licenses that we've uploaded from what's called our Microsoft licensing statement. But I've got 1,008 installations. So if Microsoft came knocking on my door, they'd say, thank you, Jamie. You owe me 158 Visio professional licenses. But as we saw earlier, I could see that I only had 61 users. So I can see, where in the business it's installed, what my license requirement is, what my coverage is. So I can see actually my compliance is coming out of Germany, Singapore, Italy, Spain. I can see how it's done my calculation of compliance. So I can see, again, my installations. I've got 850 licenses that have actually been transferred via downgrade rights. So I've actually got a newer version of Visio. And like I said, I've got a minus 158. I think a Visio license is about $500, for example. So a significant audit bill of probably about $70,000. But the great thing that you get with Snow, as we said earlier, is software metering. So I can see all these computers, where they sit in the organization, when it was first discovered, and I can see when it was used. So if I very quickly go run, I can see that all these users are actually using their application, and I can see how long they're using it for. Oops, sorry. And then I can see all these users aren't using it. So all these zeros, why am I paying for an application that's costed me $500 a year if they're never using it? I should reharvest it. I should uninstall it. I can see that these users are using it. So 61 users. So when my Microsoft renewal's up and I'm actually renewing for 850, I'm going to drop that down to 61 users and only maintain the users that are actually using their license. Here we can see all information about the application. So I can see all the downgrade rights from the application. We categorize the applications as well, so we can see the application type. We can see what my upgrade rights are, obviously if I had software assurance, end of life, end of support dates, etc. You get all that information. We also can do custom fields. So all these ones with a figure, you can create any custom information that you want associated with that application. And then we can upload all our licensing costs as well. So typically, we would use what's called a customer price sheet, which is what you get from Microsoft when you sign into like an enterprise agreement, for example. And also you've obviously got access to what's called an MLS statement, which is a Microsoft licensing summary, which effectively is all the historic purchases that you've made of Microsoft. And if we go back to the search for applications tab, as I mentioned earlier, you can very quickly search through any applications that you have in your environment. You can use the column selector here as well, so I could pull things through like web applications, or I could pull through, what did we see earlier? It was application types. So you can search for application, or you can actually go, show me all my video conferencing software that I've got in my environment where we've categorized it. We actually did this task internally, and we had a number of applications that we were using, such as Zoom and Teams and all sorts, Cisco's. So you can see all your different video conferencing type of applications in your environment. And if we just pull that one out quickly, let's get rid of applications type, and we can focus on SaaS. So very quickly, I can say, show me all my SaaS applications that I've got in my environment. And here you'll see cloud, where it's got cloud next to the name, and you'll see 0 installations. So that means that the software hasn't been installed on the device, but it's being accessed via a browser. So very quickly, I can go, show me what's my most used SaaS application. It's being accessed via browser. I've got Concur Expense Management. I can click into the application. I can see what licenses that we've got. I can see where they're allocated in the business. And again, I can see that usage. So I can see people that are actually using that application. The other way that we do SaaS is via API. So if I look at Microsoft Office 365, we've got an API that goes straight into the Microsoft portals, pulls back all that information. And then what we're doing is we're comparing that information against the agent information. And what that's giving you is actual usage on those Office 365 SKUs. So here we can see, I've got a nicely provisioned estate. I see some really scary numbers sometimes. I had one not so long ago where only 60% of the estate was provisioned. So, 40% of that cost every month was just being wasted because it had never even been provisioned. So it's always good to ensure that you've obviously got a high provision number here. of your available subscriptions. Active users, so 82%, so nearly 20% of users aren't actually using their licenses. And I've got an overspend here of nearly 189,000 euros. And I want to actually investigate that data. I can see here's my E3. I've got a lot active, but I've still got 490 unprovisioned licenses. Why am I paying for those? Lots of Visio and projects pros that we see as well. And typically we see a lot of these have been converted in a Microsoft contract, like an EA, for example, to cloud. And lots of people still aren't using them. So that's always a cost-saving area that we find in Microsoft contracts. So here we can see we've got 125 active, 25 unprovisioned. Same with Project Pro, 92 inactive, 18 unprovisioned. So we don't even have any actual usage on those. I can see all the different subscription types. I can see all the activities. So again, I can see active users, inactive users across all the different SKUs that we've got. I can actually look at users. Show me all my users, for example, that have never used their license. So I can just go no activity. Nearly 3,000 users have never used their license. Why am I paying for those licenses? Are these employees actually still with the business? You could export that, send it to HR. Are these people still live? Should I remove the licenses, etc.? And obviously, you can start then building processes around, reports being scheduled weekly, monthly, of a list of all the users that aren't using their Office 365 license, etc. You can see all your costs. So again, here we can see January, we've spent, nearly €250,000 on euro on active licenses. But we've got 45, worth of waste effectively with inactive, and a complete waste of money, 14.5 euro of unprovisioned. So they haven't even been allocated to anyone. So nearly a 60,000 euro saving month on month, just by recarving out some of those licenses. We've got lots of reports that are out the box as well. So we can see, which users, this is what we're seeing quite a lot as well, Microsoft 365 users who may be doubled licensed. So that's where users are still using a sort of on-premise version of Office alongside, obviously, the Office 365 versions. I can see I've got an E3 to E1 optimization, and then, Skype versus Teams adoption, etc., unlinked accounts, and again, users that are not actually using the software. We've got a very similar view for Adobe. So again, API into the Creative Cloud portal, showing all the usage activity across the different subscriptions. And with All Apps, we actually go a little bit granular in terms of showing what components of that All Apps license is actually being used. So you get all these lovely insights at the bottom here. So again, I can see nearly 10,000 euros a month of unused. We've got some leakage here as well. So that's users that are actually using applications, but not from the primary Adobe console. And then here we go, 79 users are assigned an All Apps license, which are about $1,200, but are only using one or two individual applications. Typically an individual application is about $250. So if you're using, one or two, it makes more sense to license in it that way than an All Apps license. And then we've got API integration into a number of other SaaS vendors as well. So, as long as the vendor's got an open API, we've got what's called a generic connector. We're able to actually pull back subscription information from that cloud application. And again, the great thing about this is it's showing you your actual login activity and your potential wastage on users that actually haven't logged into their application. So we see things like Salesforce. Salesforce license are nearly $1,000 a license. 89% of users with login activity. There's still 81 users without any login activity. So a number of applications here, and if I very quickly click into one, let's go into Tableau, for example. I can see, with login activity, without, who all my users are. I can go more granular. Show me all my users that have a subscription that have never logged in. 31. Let's remove them. If they haven't logged in already, they're not using it. And that significant costs on some of these SaaS applications. Do full contract management as well. So if we go into an agreements overview here, I can see all my software agreements, maintenance contracts, Oracle, etc. What status have we got? I've got 3 that have expired. Got more that have got 6 months remaining. and everything's very much click and go. You can click into those applications. If I can go into list all agreements, so effectively anything with a start or an end date you can add into Snow. So if we just click on this Adobe Creative Cloud contract, we've uploaded all our license costs in there as well, all our quantities. I can set agreement periods. I can set up alerts as well. So you could say, 60, 90 days before my renewal, I want an alert with an actual formatted Excel of my install base on Adobe, for example. You can set the parameters. You can see how long you've got left until that contract's up for renewal, and you can apply a number of information across that vendor. So I have some customers that will have actually their Adobe rep, what their contact details are. They'll attach documents, if there's any certificates or any emails that you want to keep on file. It's always worth obviously applying those into the system as well. So it becomes your central repository for all your contracts and renewals for anything software related. I've even got customers that are putting in cleaning contracts, car lease contracts, hardware contracts, because anything with a start or an end date can be entered into the system. If we just jump very quickly to the enterprise view, we've mentioned a lot about Oracle. So Snow is one of the only SAM solutions that's fully certified by Oracle. Here we can see our overview of products here, so we can see compliance summaries, all our licenses, what's been assigned, what's been unassigned. Obviously, this is a demo site. I can see all the different additions that we've got. So we've got some enterprise, some database here, and then we get these insights. So it's going to show me all my named user plus licenses that are assigned and unassigned. And then if we go into recommendations down here, we make a number of recommendations based on your Oracle state. So here we can see the Oracle database with version for Oracle that has extended support, and this has an increase. And again, we give you an explanation of what that means as well. We look into the WebLogic server applications. We look at soft partitioning. Give you a full cost breakdown of your licenses there as well. So we can see that it's nearly 70 million on Oracle there, with an order cost of 22. I can see all the different products that we've got. So we can see all our database additions, our middleware, and obviously we spoke earlier about Java. So here we get a breakdown of all our Java applications that we've got. We can see our Java SCs here. So I see I've got multiple versions there. I've got mainly Java SC 934. And then we can upload all our entitlement information here as well. See all our order information. And then we can do our license assignments as well. So here we can see our compliance status. You see all the device names, the manufacturer. It's got soft partition, etc. And obviously the core factor adjustments there as well. So that's all our VMs. I can see all my servers, and I can see all my data centers. And then we've got 47 reports that have been predefined for Oracle. So all these different reports that you can see here. We've even got an Oracle Server Worksheet report, so you can automatically generate an OSW document. So like I said, lots and lots of information there. Our reporting capability is one of the biggest strengths that Snow has as a solution, and a lot of the feedback that we get from organizations is how easy it is to report on Snow. So we've got all these standard reports that are built in here. So one that I always like using is show me all my unused applications, potential cost savings. I can click on that report, show report, and then this is going to show me all applications in my environment that have got no registered usage. So again, lots of customers will schedule that weekly, show me my usage stats on these applications. And again, you can schedule that report. So if you wanted multiple people to, not have access to the system, but access to that report, you can schedule it so they can get a copy of that report. Again, whether it's weekly, monthly. So there I can see all my applications that have got no usage, and obviously cost associated to it once we've uploaded those costs. And if we just go back to a computer's overview, again, this is a really handy view to have, seeing all your different types of devices. So I can see my desktops, my servers, my VMs, my laptops. What's my most installed operating systems. When a lot of customers were, XP was becoming end of life, etc., customers were still able to identify, which of those users need to have a migration to the latest version, etc. So you can see all your most installed ops. Again, inventory status, most frequent computer manufacturers. So you get a list of all your different devices, and then you get all these hardware stats as well. So, devices that have got, small memory, which devices are quarantined, etc. Which ones, have got 8 computers have less than 1,000 megabyte of memory installed. So you get all that great information. And typically, I'd say one of the challenges with SAM solutions is obviously the data uploads. It's collating all the information that you've got from, typically what we're finding is customers have got it in Excel spreadsheets or, stuck in email inboxes. So it's getting it all uploaded into the system to ensure that obviously you're able to understand what license entitlement you have for those applications, which is obviously going to give us that risk element in terms of understanding that we're actually licensed for what we're paying for, but also will give you that optimization opportunity as well. So we'd upload all of those into the system, which can be done in imports, but the biggest task is probably from the client internally tracking down all of that intel that they've got over many, many years. And I think that's probably me done on the demo side of things.